North Lowestoft was one of the areas rightly identified as just simply not accessing lottery funding. So the Fair Share Trust funding has made a real impact on a community that has for too long suffered from higher levels of unemployment and deprivation.
One of the issues was the lack of activity, the lack of community activity in the area, and the actual need for investment in communities.
It was obvious that we had to get into the community quite quickly to identify the needs, so the board or the panel didn't set priorities that were their priorities rather than the community's priorities.
The consultation that was done through the Big Map process by the Yard project formed the basis to identify the needs of the local area.
The map was, it was huge, absolutely huge. It couldn't be carried by one person. So ultimately, wherever it was, would draw attention to the community. They were able to engage and ask people how they felt, put post-it notes over there.
The priority to develop activities concentrated on a need for activities, in particular for young people, but also for their families, and a need around parenting. It was also found that we would need to have a strategy around developing more volunteers to enable all of these activities to happen.
We created 2 volunteering hubs, one at Signpost in Gunton and the other at the Yard project in Harbour Wards. The idea behind the hubs was to create an opportunity for local people to be able to see and become involved in projects that were happening within their community. They were able to see a notice board in those 2 centres, and that notice board had opportunities for volunteering, and they were able to access those volunteering opportunities quite easily, and were supported by the volunteer centre into those projects. One of the projects that was created was an allotment project where young people and adults from those communities were able to get together, be involved in something, supporting the creation of food and a cooking project, which brought people together, gave them a sense of community, broke down some of the isolation that some of them felt. Also created an opportunity for intergenerational work where young people who had been seen as a problem in the area were actually involved in supporting and helping with something.
The Yard project was set up to work with young people and give them training, but also to help them integrate into the community and work with adults. Initially, we were involved in Pride in Our Road. What we wanted was to give young people the opportunity to work with the community. So we set up a project which would first of all grow the plants that would enhance the local streets, and we worked with a retired gardener, Jerry.
Well, I got involved in when Jeff and them and the boys made the planters. We grew a few plants and then we filled them up with the plants for, well, what was it, 2, 3 years?
We were able in the first summer to go out and engage with about 40 houses in Norwich Road, and that involved first of all cleaning people's front gardens out with the young people, and then offering them the chance to have a planter with some flowers in.
We had 1 or 2 grown-ups joined in, and where I was about 20, I was all in the yard doing these planters all up. Well, they weighed a ton, we couldn't lift them, so we had to get you and Jeff and the boys to load them up onto the truck and take them down, take them round, and that was really good.
It basically meant that we could get a chance to talk to local people. The young people were able to be involved in something which they wouldn't normally do, which was working with members of the community much older themselves often, and contribute to the local community.
You could physically see the before and the after, and the behind the scenes with the young people getting so involved, and young people speaking to residents and talking to residents and engaging with them and getting quite excited about something they were going to do.
We got the people involved and everybody was out the doorsteps and whatnot, having a look, see what was going on.
just walking down the road, you know, weeks afterwards, you'd see people out there tendering their gardens, talking to each other. And again from a very young child, I don't remember a lot of seeing people on Norwich Road. So they're obviously behind their doors quite a lot. So that brought the community out.
These would. See, I'm going to have some of those.
We were full up with plants, and that was either you or Peter said, why don't we sell some of them? Well, they went like hotcakes. We couldn't have enough. We didn't have enough. No. They just snowballed from there, and from the last 3, 4, 5 years, that's a recognised thing now. Everybody's asking about the plant sale every year. When are we having one?
Fair Share was a catalyst for us to engage with the local community and for them to come into the yard and gain some benefits from what we had to offer.
Following the Pride in Our Road project, it galvanised us to bring together a community group to look at how we could engage the rest of the community in activities. And now we have lots of different groups going on: pottery, arts and crafts, community ventures that people are getting involved in. There's a real opportunities for people to get involved as volunteers and community champions with the Yard project now, and really engaging and working with the community.
I first got involved via people telling me about it, so I came down here to see what was on offer, and there was a number of things on offer: woodwork facility, pottery, artwork, sewing, and they're supportive of the local community, so I found it a very attractive place to be around, very helpful. It's a place to gather and share, to come together, to be a community. There's not too many places out there where people can actually go and meet other than a pub. So a place like the Yard Project I think is needed every 10 square blocks, really.
As a result of the positive engagement with the community in the Yards project, the residents identified one of the huge issues for them personally was fuel poverty.
2 years ago we set up an insulation project at the Yard where we trained young people in loft and cavity wall insulation, and those young people were employed within the industry but also within the local area, working with the community, enhancing people's property for energy saving measures.
When I started at the Yard, I was out in the community doing gardening, helping old people out, just general maintenance really. I got offered a chance to do this insulation course, so I went up to Braintree with a few of the Yard lads, done some training, went out with some of the climate energy employers. I liked doing it, so I went up, stayed up there some more. And the boss, Phil, with climate, he offered me a full-time job, and I'm still there 14 months later.
Working with insulation through the Fair Share Trust area has been a great opportunity, not just to insulate people's houses, but to often be a first step in helping vulnerable people gain access to services, either through ourselves or just through signposting.
We deal with vulnerable people with disabilities. If they have any problem, we try to give them either advice or guidance. We might help them to fill in forms or find some means for them to move forward.
It's a very hidden community, people with disabilities, and especially with people with disabilities who are claiming or are entitled to a benefit, and for some reason they've been told they're not entitled. So unfortunately they're the very hidden ones.
There's a lot of people who are frightened, confused, angry out there who don't know which way to turn. So we try and give them a positive direction to move in and help them with that. In my situation, it would be if it was an employment problem, they may have a problem getting into work, staying in work, or leaving work, and I would try to find the best route for them and take away some of the stress.
The result of that project, I believe it was well over £1 million that Dial had managed to claim back for their clients in benefits that they actually were entitled to. So again, I guess they were quite hidden, but you know that deep down it's because of the Fair Share that these people have got a standard of living that has made them more comfortable.
Tell me about some of your successes and what could other groups learn from you?
Basically, I think it's to make good contacts with the people that you feel could help those people best. So in my case, it was with the job centre, for instance. So I did work there through the fair share money by an outreach for half a day a week. As I said, we made good contacts with the job centre that we still have. Also referral to other people like Shaw Trust and so on, who may be able to help with certain things, MENCAP, these sorts of organisations. Keep in good touch with those and make sure you know what they are able to do and who you can refer to them.
Shaw Mobility, a local charity who works successfully with disabled people in the area, was awarded a grant from the Fair Share Trust to help them develop a sustainable income stream.
Our prime purpose is the hire of mobility vehicles. We also sell disability equipment, both second-hand and new. The Fair Share Trust has helped us with a grant this year to buy new equipment, which we're trialling at the moment. It has been a little bit of a learning curve for us selling equipment, but what we found is that there is definitely a market for mobility equipment in Lowestoft. Because we don't actually receive any funding from our local council, we need to try and create as much income as we can for the charity to keep it running, to cover our running costs every year. And if we could sell enough equipment, mobility equipment, to do that, that would be an ideal situation for us to be in.
DreamWorks youth project has now been going since I think it's April 2008, set up by the Signpost Gunton charity in North Lowestoft.
The community had noticed that there was a lot of young children on the streets, walking around, playing around and wanting something to do, and they weren't actually entitled to go to the youth clubs or any existing youth provision.
The feedback that before the project started was these young people felt isolated, they weren't involved in the community, they felt there wasn't anything there for their community, they didn't realise what potential they could bring to their community for the future.
Gunton Signpost applied and DreamWorks was born.
Well, over the first sort of year, I would have said we went into schools. At the time we had middle schools, just so we can get to know them, get to know their ideas, see what they wanted to see happen in their community, because we didn't want to just run a project that was set up by adults and young people said, here, you know, told to come along to. We wanted a project that actually met the need of the young people and met the needs of their families. The young people were part of the planning of that, so that it was their ideas, and it just gave them a springboard, DreamWorks did, to have a voice in the community.
I first became aware of DreamWorks when I was in, I think, year 6. At that time, there wasn't really anything for young people to do, of my age at least. So having a youth group about was really beneficial for us, because it gave us something to do. It started up during the summer and it gave us something to do all the way through the summer, sporting activities and things like that. And when it started up properly with the drop-in in September, it gave us something to do on our Friday night rather than hanging around on the streets, and it gave us a really fun atmosphere and place to go, and we had people to talk to and to support us if we had any troubles.
Following the revision of the priorities in 2009, the black and ethnic minority community was identified as a community that was being underrepresented. JUMP, Junior to Adult Unbiased Mentoring Project, addressed this issue.
We work mainly with the young people. It really has made so much difference to the young people, because I mean you can see the transformation from the first stage you meet them. They they don't know much about other people's cultures. So because the project is there to to make sure that everyone is like wide open in terms of knowing about other people's culture, about different kinds of things from all over the world. I would say it went very well because it includes so many people and so many cultures. So in that way, everyone is getting a chance to know more about different cultures, about different countries, not just the UK.
I've been involved with the Fair Share Trust since September 2006 because for 29 years I have lived in Harbour Ward and worked nearby. So I felt that I knew what some of the problems were in an area that's described as one of the most deprived areas of Suffolk. Do I think the Fair Share Trust has made a difference over the last years? Yes, I certainly do, because it has opened up to a lot of people, a lot of projects, and not just projects for young people, but projects right through the ages, for people with disabilities, for older people, for very young people, for teenagers. So I think it's made a tremendous difference to a lot of people.
I see it now, there's so much activity going on, which 10 years ago there wasn't. I mean, I particularly look at activities to support young people in North Lowestoft, and the increase in support for them has been absolutely brilliant and a really positive legacy.
I didn't have nothing to do, I was in and out of care, but this place I definitely recommend it to younger people because it has helped my life and I say a few other people's lives as well.
Well, I was involved right at the very beginning of the Fair Share Trust, and it's absolutely brilliant to see how it's continuing as it is, just building and building and building, bringing the community together.
We're all happy together, we teach each other new things, new crafts, etc. I really enjoy it.
I love my pottery class, I mean, and we got a kiln in, we got all the wheels and everything, and that's really took off well, and I enjoyed doing it.
I've got a great deal of pleasure out of coming to the yard. It's provided me with friends, new activities, and believe it or not, I've actually been able to utilise some of my skills to help other people.
It's given me the opportunity to share skills.
It's given me the confidence to go out and meet new people.
DreamWorks is a great youth group for young children between the age of 9 to 13, and a great way to meet new people and have a good time.
It has helped a lot of people, it gets everyone off the streets and into something that they want to do, and it's a lot of fun for them. DreamWorks has given me lots of opportunities and skills that I can now use in everyday life and use to help me get a job.
I think the legacy of the project is that communities with support, and sometimes just a small amount of support, can actually thrive and can actually feel that their community is somewhere that they actually want to be and want to be part of.
The Fair Share Trust programme, which has brought £850,000 of funding over 6 years to communities in North Lowestoft, concludes in March 2013. However, all the good work will continue as a permanent legacy. The Fair Share Trust programme will conclude with 2 specific initiatives which will help with the sustainability of voluntary organisations in the area. We are providing small grants to assist organisations with training and marketing. This fund should allow us to support some 20 organisations in this way. We are also conducting a wide-ranging consultation exercise with voluntary organisations and stakeholders to identify their needs and the support services they will require in the future.
Never mind, I just thought it...
This evidence will then be used to support bids for funding and resources. Finally, thanks to previous chairs and the many panel members who have been involved with the Fair Share Trust programme. Also thanks to Suffolk Acre for professional guidance and all the many voluntary organisations and volunteers that have made this such a great success.